The radio operator's hands are shaking, not from cold, though the Berlin basement is freezing, not from fatigue, though he hasn't slept in 36 hours. His hands shake because of what's coming through his headphones. Morse code. Rapid. Desperate. From London. He writes each letter carefully. His pencil scratches against paper. Around him, the Abwehr Intelligence Centre hums with typewriters and hushed voices. March wind rattles the blacked-out windows above. Someone coughs. A telephone rings twice, then stops. The operator finishes transcribing. He reads it once, twice. His face goes white. He stands. The chair scrapes concrete, heads turn. He walks quickly to the senior officer's desk, each footstep echoing off bare walls. The message trembles in his grip. He places it down without speaking. The officer reads it. His jaw tightens. When? This morning. 3:32. The officer looks up. For a moment, neither man speaks. Both understand what this means. Both know what happens next. The entire intelligence network they've built, the agents, the dead drops, the coded transmissions, all of it is compromised. All of it was a lie. The British have been reading their mail for months, maybe years, and this morning they proved it. Outside, air raid sirens begin to wail, but no one in the basement moves. The real danger isn't coming from the sky. February 1943, London. The government code and cipher school operates from a Victorian mansion 50 miles north of the capital, Bletchley Park. To locals, it's a radio manufacturing facility. To Berlin, it doesn't exist. To the men and women working there, it's the most important building in the war. Inside Hut 8, a young mathematician named Hugh Alexander stares at a decrypt. The paper is still warm from the teleprinter. German naval traffic. Intercepted 90 minutes ago. Decoded 60 minutes ago. It contains coordinates, ship movements, U-boat positions in the North Atlantic. He walks quickly to the naval section. The corridor is narrow. Wooden boards creak underfoot. Cold air seeps through gaps in the walls. Outside, snow falls across the Buckinghamshire countryside. Inside, hundreds of people work in shifts that never end. Day becomes night becomes day. The clocks mean nothing here. In Hut 11, women operate bombs, massive electromagnetic machines that test thousands of Enigma settings per minute. The machines are taller than a man. They click and whir and hum. Each contains 36 rotating drums. Each drum represents a rotor position on the German Enigma machine. The bombs test combinations, endlessly, relentlessly. When a bomb finds a possible solution, it stops. A light flashes. The operator calls a supervisor. The setting is tested against known plaintext. If it works, the decrypt is rushed to Hut 8. If it fails, the bomb continues searching. This happens 24 hours a day. The Germans don't know. They believe Enigma is unbreakable. They've been told this by their best mathematicians, by their engineers, by Arthur Scherbius himself, the man who invented the machine. Enigma has 158 million possible settings. It changes daily. Breaking it would require impossible luck or impossible computing power. The British have both. They also have something else, something the Germans don't know about, captured code books, recovered from U-110 in May 1941. From U-559 in October 1942. These books contain Enigma settings, starting positions. They give the code breakers a way in, a foothold. But even with code books, breaking Enigma requires genius. Alan Turing designed the bombs, Gordon Welchman improved them, Hugh Alexander runs the daily operations. Together, they've built a system that can break German naval codes in hours, sometimes minutes. Alexander reaches the naval liaison desk. He hands over the decrypt. The officer reads it. His eyes widen slightly. He picks up a scrambled telephone. He speaks to the Admiralty. Within 2 hours, 3 Royal Navy destroyers will alter course. Within 6 hours, a German U-boat will surface for air and find itself surrounded. Within 8 hours, the U-boat will be at the bottom of the Atlantic. This happens dozens of times each week. German submarines are vanishing. Convoys are reaching their destinations. The Battle of the Atlantic is turning. And Admiral Karl Dönitz cannot understand why. He sends more submarines. The British sink them. He changes patrol patterns. The British anticipate them. He implements radio silence protocols. The British still find them. Something is wrong, but Dönitz doesn't know what. In Berlin, someone else is starting to suspect. Berlin. Abwehr headquarters, Tierpitzufer 67. Early March. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris sits behind his desk, reading loss reports. The room is sparse. A filing cabinet, a telephone, a portrait of the Führer that Canaris never looks at. He reads slowly. U-boats sunk, supply convoys intercepted, troop movements anticipated, again and again and again. He's a thin man, 60 years old, grey hair, quiet voice. His face gives nothing away. But he's been in intelligence since the First World War. He commanded a cruiser, ran agents in Spain, built networks across Europe. He knows what patterns look like. He knows what coincidence doesn't look like. The British are too effective, too precise. They're finding submarines in the middle of the Atlantic, open ocean, thousands of square miles. Yet somehow, British destroyers appear exactly where the U-boats surface. Not randomly, not through search patterns, exactly where they need to be. They're bombing supply depots 24 hours after establishment, depots that were secret, that were communicated only through encrypted channels. They're repositioning forces exactly where German offensives are planned, before those offensives begin. As if they've read the operational orders. Either the British have supernatural foresight, or they're reading German communications. Canaris suspects the latter. He lights a cigarette. Smoke drifts towards the ceiling. Outside, Berlin continues its war. Factories running, soldiers training, the machinery of the Third Reich grinding forward. But in this office, doubt is growing. He picks up his telephone. He orders a full security review. Every diplomatic code, every military cipher, every agent network in Britain. He wants explanations. He wants vulnerabilities identified. He wants the leak found. His staff begins investigating. They examine Enigma first, the encryption machine, the Wehrmacht's pride, the machine that protects everything from U-boat coordinates to Hitler's personal directives. Enigma looks like a typewriter. Wooden case, 3 rotors, a plug board, a lamp panel. Simple, elegant, deadly effective. When an operator types a letter, electrical current flows through the rotors. Each rotor scrambles the signal differently. The plug board adds another layer of encryption. The result? A letter becomes a different letter. A becomes Q. B becomes F. The pattern changes with every keystroke. To decode the message, the receiving operator sets his Enigma to the same initial position. He types the encrypted letters. The machine reverses the process. The original message appears on the lamp panel. Without knowing the rotor positions, plug board settings, and ring settings, decoding is mathematically impossible. Or so Berlin believes. Teams of cryptographers test it. They run security analyses, they calculate breaking probabilities, they work for 3 days straight. Their conclusion? Impossible. Enigma remains secure. The mathematics is sound, the number of possible settings is astronomical. Even if the British captured an Enigma machine, which they have, from submarines and weather ships, they cannot break the code without knowing the daily settings, and those settings change every midnight. But Canaris isn't satisfied. He's seen too many coincidences, too many precise British responses. He orders additional checks, physical security, personnel loyalty, communication procedures. Then he decides to conduct an experiment, a trap. March 16th, 1943, evening. In a windowless room at Tirpitz-Ufer 76, 3 Abwehr officers craft a message. They work carefully. The message must look authentic, routine. It must contain the kind of operational intelligence the British would act on. They invent a convoy, 20 transport ships, supposedly carrying weapons and fuel from Glasgow to Murmansk. The Arctic route, dangerous waters, heavy escort required. The message contains specific details. Departure time, March 18th, 0600 hours. Route coordinates, escort composition, 4 destroyers, 2 corvettes, cargo manifest, artillery, ammunition, aircraft parts, fuel oil, every detail is fabricated. The ships don't exist. The cargo isn't real. The escort is fiction. But the British won't know that. If they're reading German communications, this will look like genuine intelligence. High value target. They'll respond. The officers encrypt the message using Enigma, standard naval settings, nothing unusual. They transmit it through regular channels, multiple times, as if confirming operational details. Then they wait. The Abwehr deploys listening stations along the Norwegian coast, direction finding equipment, radio intercept teams. They watch for British naval movements, aircraft patrols, any indication the Royal Navy is repositioning assets. March 17th, 1943, 0332 hours. British Coastal Command aircraft are detected over the Norwegian Sea. Flight patterns consistent with convoy protection. 2 Sunderland flying boats, a Hudson patrol bomber. They're searching the exact route specified in the German message. 0547 hours, radio intercepts indicate Royal Navy destroyers adjusting position, moving toward the fictional convoy route. The movements are subtle, could be routine patrol adjustments, but the timing is precise. 0823 hours, more aircraft, more ships, all converging on the coordinates specified in yesterday's encrypted transmission. The radio operator who first notices the pattern runs through the corridor. His boots echo off concrete. He bursts into his superior's office. The report is delivered breathlessly. The superior reads it once, twice. His face hardens. He picks up the telephone. The message reaches Canaris within 30 minutes. Canaris sits at his desk. He reads the report 3 times. His cigarette burns down to ash. He doesn't notice. The British are responding to the false convoy. A convoy that exists only in encrypted German communications. A convoy that was transmitted using Enigma. The conclusion is inescapable. The British are reading Enigma. Everything suddenly makes sense. The submarine losses, the intercepted convoys, the anticipated offensives, every German defeat that seemed like bad luck or British brilliance. None of it was luck. None of it was genius. It was intelligence. The British have broken Enigma. How long has this been happening? Canaris pulls files, U-boat loss reports. He traces the pattern back. December 1942, losses increase. November, losses increase. October, losses increase. Back and back. The pattern extends for months, possibly over a year. How many operations have been compromised? How many men have died because the British knew where they were? How many strategic decisions have been made based on the assumption of secure communications? Canaris picks up his telephone. His voice is calm, steady, but his words carry weight. I need an immediate meeting with Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. This morning, priority classification. This goes to the top. Now, late morning, March 17th. At Bletchley Park, no one realises their mistake yet. The decrypt about the Glasgow-Murmansk convoy went out through standard channels. Naval intelligence acted on it routinely. Ships were repositioned, aircraft were scrambled. The response was measured, careful, professional. But the Germans were watching. They were testing. And the British responded exactly as predicted. In Hut 8, Hugh Alexander works through the morning's decrypts. Routine traffic, U-boat positions, weather reports, supply requisitions, everything normal. Then, around midday, something changes. German radio traffic decreases, sharply. Naval communications drop by 40%. Diplomatic channels go quiet. Even routine transmissions, weather observations, position reports become sparse. Alexander notices. He walks to Gordon Welchman's office. Something's wrong. Welchman looks up. He's been at Bletchley since 1939. He helped design the British bomb. He knows German procedures better than most Germans. Show me. They examine the intercept logs. The pattern is clear. German communications are being restricted, possibly switched to alternative channels, possibly reduced entirely. They suspect. The words hang in the air. An emergency meeting is called. Edward Travis, the director, Gordon Welchman, Hugh Alexander, Dilly Knox, if his health permits. They gather in Travis's office. Maps on the walls, decrypt sheets everywhere. Someone lights a cigarette. Smoke drifts towards the ceiling. Travis speaks first. His voice is controlled. Assessment. Welchman lays out the evidence. The decrease in traffic, the timing, the possibility that Berlin has detected British use of Enigma intelligence. The convoy? Possible. We responded to a high-value target. If it was a test, he doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. The room falls silent. If the Germans know Enigma is compromised, everything changes. Berlin will implement new procedures, new machines, new codes. Bletchley Park will go dark. Months of work, thousands of lives saved, all gone. The question becomes, what do the Germans do next? In Berlin, that question is being answered. Canaris meets with Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel at the Bendler Block, the headquarters of the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. The building is massive, grey stone, iron gates, armed guards. They meet in a secure conference room. No windows, steel door. The conversation is brief, tense. Keitel dismisses the concern initially. Enigma is mathematically unbreakable. German engineers have guaranteed it. The British are simply getting lucky. Better reconnaissance, improved radar, more aircraft. But Canaris insists. He presents the convoy data, the pattern analyses, the statistical impossibilities. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. The numbers speak for themselves. 23 U-boats lost in January, 26 in February, 15 already in the first half of March. The losses are unsustainable, and they correlate precisely with increased British effectiveness. Keitel studies the reports. His expression darkens. You're certain. As certain as intelligence allows. Keitel agrees to escalate to Hitler. That afternoon, a secure briefing is prepared. The evidence is compiled. Lost statistics, intercept analyses, the convoy trap results. Everything. Hitler is informed that Enigma may be compromised. The response is explosive. Hitler demands immediate answers. How? When? Who is responsible? He wants heads. He wants solutions. He wants absolute certainty. German cryptographic teams are ordered to conduct emergency security assessments. Again, deeper this time, they work through the night, testing, calculating, searching for vulnerabilities. Engineers examine Enigma machines. Mathematicians review encryption theory. Security personnel investigate personnel files. Everyone is suspect. March 18th, early morning. The assessment team reports back. Enigma remains theoretically secure. Breaking it would require simultaneous cryptanalysis, massive computing resources, captured codebooks, and extraordinary luck. The probability of Allied success is infinitesimally small, but not zero. The evidence suggests the impossible has occurred. The British have done what German mathematics said couldn't be done. Hitler faces a choice: replace Enigma entirely, disrupting all military communications during critical operations in North Africa, Italy, and the Eastern Front. The logistics alone would take months. Training, new machines, new procedures. The Wehrmacht would be paralyzed. Or implement additional security procedures, increase code complexity, assume some communications are compromised, accept the risk. Neither option is good. The decision takes 3 days. Meetings, arguments, assessments. Hitler rages. Keitel equivocates. Canaris watches silently. Finally, on March 21st, the decision is made. Enigma will remain in service, but security procedures will be enhanced. Additional rotor settings, more frequent key changes, reduced radio traffic, critical intelligence will be transmitted through alternative channels, couriers, one-time pads, face-to-face meetings. It's a compromise, an acknowledgement that something is wrong, but uncertainty about what. The invisible war continues, but everyone knows the rules have changed. March 20th, 1943. At Bletchley Park, the decrypts continue. German communications haven't changed fundamentally. The codes haven't been replaced. Enigma traffic flows. Reduced, yes. More cautious, yes. But still there. Relief washes through the cryptanalysis teams. The Germans suspected. They tested. They responded. But they didn't shut down Enigma. They didn't replace the system. Either they've concluded Enigma remains fundamentally secure, or they've decided the operational cost of replacement is too high. Either way, Bletchley Park survives, but something has shifted. The British become more careful, more selective about which intelligence they act on. They can't respond to every decrypt. That would confirm German suspicions. They need plausible deniability. So they build cover stories. When they sink a U-boat, they stage reconnaissance flights first. Visible flights, observable flights. So the Germans believe the submarine was spotted by aircraft, not located through code breaking. When they intercept a convoy, they leak false information through double agents, information suggesting the convoy route was betrayed by a spy, not decoded from Enigma transmissions. When they anticipate an offensive, they increase general patrol activity, so the defense looks like prudent military planning, not foreknowledge. The deception becomes as important as the intelligence itself. In Berlin, the Abwehr quietly increases Enigma security procedures, additional rotor protocols, enhanced key distribution, stricter communication discipline. But Canaris stops trusting Enigma for the most sensitive intelligence. He uses couriers now, men who travel by train and automobile, who carry messages in their heads or in one-time pad ciphers, who meet in safe houses and speak in whispers. The invisible war becomes even more invisible. But for German intelligence, March 17th, 1943 marks something else, something psychological. It's the moment they realized the British weren't just lucky, the moment they understood their enemy was winning a war they didn't even know was being fought. It's not the fall of Berlin, not Stalingrad, not D-Day. It's quieter than that. It's the moment in a Berlin basement when a radio operator's hands started shaking, when an admiral read a report and understood his entire network was compromised, when experienced intelligence officers, men who'd spent decades in espionage, realised they'd been shouting into a microphone while the enemy listened from the next room. Wars are decided by battles, but battles are decided by information. And on March 17th, 1943, German intelligence realised they'd been fighting blind. April 1943. U-boat losses continue to climb. Admiral Dönitz withdraws submarines from the North Atlantic. He calls it temporary. It's permanent. Allied convoys reach their destinations. Supplies flow to Britain. Troops, weapons, food. The build-up for invasion continues unimpeded. German offensives are anticipated and countered. In North Africa, Rommel's Afrika Korps collapses. In Russia, the Wehrmacht prepares for Kursk. The British already know the attack plans. At Bletchley Park, the bombs continue clicking. The decrypts continue flowing. Young women operate the machines in shifts, 8 hours on, 8 hours off. They never speak about what they do. Not to friends, not to family, not for 30 years. Mathematicians huddle over probability tables. Naval officers rush intelligence to the Admiralty. The work continues, every day, every hour. In Berlin, Abwehr headquarters continues its work. The radio operators still tap out messages. The encryption machines still encrypt. But there's a difference now, a shadow. The understanding that somewhere across the North Sea someone is listening. Canaris will be executed in April 1945, hanged by piano wire in Flossenburg concentration camp, not for losing the intelligence war, for plotting against Hitler. His files on Enigma will be destroyed. His suspicions will die with him. The convoy trap of March 17th will appear in no official reports. The British mistake will never be acknowledged. The German suspicions will never be confirmed in writing. Both sides will maintain silence. But in the small, quiet rooms where intelligence is gathered and analysed, everyone will remember. The day the invisible war became visible. The day the Germans looked at their unbreakable code and realised the enemy had broken it. The day experienced spies and intelligence officers understood, perhaps for the first time, that this war was already lost. Not because of tanks or aircraft or industrial capacity, because the other side was reading their mail. And they had been all along. The British will continue breaking Enigma until the end of the war. May 1945. The intelligence will contribute to victories in North Africa, Italy, Normandy, and the Atlantic. Historians will later estimate that breaking Enigma shortened the war by 2 years, saved countless lives, but none of that would have been possible without secrecy, without the careful deception that followed March 17th, without the realization that knowing the enemy's secrets means nothing if the enemy knows you know. The invisible war continued in the shadows, both sides aware, both sides pretending ignorance, both sides fighting a battle that would never appear in newspapers or history books, until decades later, when the files were finally opened and the world learned what really happened. March 17th, 1943. The day German spies knew the war was lost.